Elon Musk reportedly predicted that a recession might occur as early as spring 2022. That's right, this year. Almost every investor has predicted some sort of economic slowdown, but few have given a time frame as short as Elon Musk's latest forecast. This video will explain why Elon thinks a recession is coming and what investors may do to prepare. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and the founder of multiple great businesses, has direct experience with the effects of a financial crisis. In February of 1999, he sold Zip2, the company he co-founded with his brother, for more than $300 million. That's right, before the dot-com bubble popped in March of 2000. Elon also lived through the 2008 recession as the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, which both nearly went bankrupt at the same time. Elon now believes that we are about to go through a similar predicament in the next few months. A tech journalist for the Wall Street Journal tweeted, quote, "There are 936 startups valued at more than $1 billion in the world today. What do we think this chart will look like in, say, 5 years?" Attached to the tweet is an image showing all the unicorns, which are private companies with a valuation of over $1 billion. This list of unicorns includes businesses from almost every industry, each with tens or hundreds of employees. This is in stark contrast to the 150 unicorns that existed in September of this year. That's a six-fold increase in just 2 years, which is unsustainable. Elon responded to this tweet by saying, quote, "If history is any guide, not many will make it past the next recession." After being asked when the next recession would be, Elon said, quote, "Predicting macroeconomics is challenging, to say the least. My gut feeling is that maybe around spring or summer 2022, but not later than 2023. There are many reasons to believe that a recession will come in 2022. First and foremost, I'm sure you're all aware that consumer costs are rapidly rising. Now, $1.25, Elon responded to a tweet that claimed 99-cent dreams. The main reason for the price hike is the government's excessive spending, which essentially let the US print its way out of the 2020 recession. In this graph, the average American worker must pay a tax amount that keeps the federal budget funded. In recent years, the amount of tax that each worker must pay has risen dramatically to around $22 per hour. This is unquestionably a big sum. Elon responded to that data by saying, quote, "This chart is a big deal. In an effort to lower the government's budget, the Federal Reserve plans to raise interest rates and slow down quantitative easing, which is when the Federal Reserve purchases bonds. The Federal Reserve recently issued a press statement indicating that interest rates will need to be raised to 0.9% by 2022. While 0.9% may appear insignificant, it represents a significant increase over the previous decade's average interest rate. As shown in the graph, the Fed attempted to raise interest rates to 2.4% in 2019. The market, on the other hand, responded unfavorably, causing interest rates to drop to 1.5% before the pandemic even began. A rate increase to 0.9% would almost certainly be negative for the market, especially given how reliant the financial markets have become on 0% interest rates. At the end of 2022, the median appropriate level of the federal funds rate is 0.9%, which is almost half a percentage point higher than what was forecast in September. Participants anticipate a steady tightening of policy, with the federal funds rate hovering around estimates of its longer-run level by the end of 2024. The Fed intends to taper off bond purchases in addition to boosting interest rates. Beginning in mid-January of 2021, the Fed will reduce monthly bond purchases by $30 billion. Fed Chair Jerome Powell predicts that by mid-March, the Fed will no longer be buying any bonds. How do you like our video so far? Please comment in the section below. Now, let's continue. At today's meeting, the committee also decided to double the pace of reductions in its asset purchases. Starting in mid-January, we'll cut the monthly pace of our net asset purchases by $20 billion for Treasury securities and $10 billion for agency mortgage-backed securities. If the economy keeps developing as expected, monthly reductions in the rate of net asset purchases will be necessary. Inferring that increases in our stock holdings would come to an end by mid-March, a few months earlier than we expected in early November. On the surface, this appears to be a good thing because inflation will likely decrease as a result. However, this will have a negative impact on the economy. The economy has recovered well from the pandemic, but it has been reliant on government spending, which is set to come to an end. Elon Musk forecasted that a recession may occur as early as spring 2022, which is around the time the Federal Reserve will stop buying bonds. What I just said may sound bad enough, but Elon could be hinting at a financial crisis that is worse than a recession. Because a recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, it is extremely common. As a result, even a 0.5% drop in GDP over several quarters is still considered a recession. A depression, on the other hand, occurs when the GDP falls by more than 10% in a year. The Great Depression is the most well-known example of this. During the Great Depression, the US GDP dropped by 30%. Economic prosperity preceded the Great Depression just as it did before every other financial disaster. Dubbed quote-unquote the Roaring Twenties, the 1920s witnessed one of the greatest periods of speculation, which, of course, set the stage for the Great Depression. We're 20% of the way through the 2020s. Can we start the roaring part soon? A writer named Tim Urban requested. Elon responded with a 100 and a praying emoji. Elon then went on to say, quote, "Let's make the roaring 20s happen," implying that we aren't too far away from the roaring 20s at the current level of speculation. One Twitter user proposed a website where you can get paid to take pictures of stupid NFTs. The website essentially mocks NFTs by demonstrating how you can simply photograph them rather than own them on a blockchain. In reaction to the tweet, Elon laughed. We could already be in the roaring 20s, except perhaps in the 21st century rather than the 20th. The rise in retail inventories is another reason that could trigger a recession. Elon Musk admires Cathie Wood, a fund manager who has predicted an economic slowdown due to oversupplied inventories. As supply networks fail to satisfy customer demand, retail inventories have fallen dramatically from pre-pandemic highs. As a result, firms have placed large orders for inventories in order to meet future consumer demand. Such orders, Cathie argues, have been overdone, resulting in large amounts of sitting inventory. Recent evidence suggests that her forecast could come true in the coming months. Quote, "Today, we learned that in November, retail inventories rose more than 2%, the fastest pace since the 1990s, Cathie Wood tweeted. Moreover, real consumption, including services, was flat, and the saving rate fell to 6.9%, below pre-COVID levels. The inventory increases have been so significant that inventory growth accounted for the entirety of America's third quarter GDP growth. As inventories rise in the next few months, the economy will certainly slow down, raising the possibility of a recession over the next 3 to 6 months. That time frame corresponds to Elon's forecast of a recession. There are various strategies for investors to protect their portfolios from a recession. The world's largest hedge fund manager, Ray Dalio, believes that buying Chinese stocks will generate massive profits while reducing risk in investors' portfolios. Many people, though, believe Dalio's projection is questionable. By buying Microsoft and Google and shorting Meta, Netflix, Apple, and Amazon, Chamath Palihapitiya, the founder of Social Capital, has become market neutral. Finally, Cathie Wood is betting against a stock market meltdown by shorting conventional corporations like GM. According to Elon Musk, a recession could begin as early as 2022 and end no later than 2023. Let me know whether you agree with Elon Musk and if you'd like me to go into further detail about how investors may protect themselves from a potential recession. So there you have it. Do you want more content like this? Please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you love this video. I'll see you in the next one.